Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I'm going to talk about the new version 19.1 update that has just gone live in North America. So, as with any update, there are many different exciting aspects, and I'm going to try and highlight the more noteworthy ones. So, firstly, we have the Leyland story mode coming. Story modes are great. They give exceptionally wonderful rewards for the amount of effort required. I consider them low-hanging fruit, and if you are a newer player or a returning player, you should be playing through all of the story modes because it's going to help maybe ease you back into the game, perhaps even educate you on the new mechanics or other things that you could possibly encounter, but at the same time, you get wonderful rewards, so everyone really should be playing it. The next major notable improvement with this update is super level limit breakthrough. It's super limit breakthrough. Basically, up until this point, cards could only be leveled up to 110. Now we can go to level 120, but there's going to be an extreme cost associated with this. So, to do this, you go to the same feature of level limit breakthrough in the extra enhancements tab, and you can select any card that has been at 110. I would not select King Tyrannos. It's a terrible idea, but it's just the example they want to show. And to do so, it requires 5 super snow globes instead of 1, and 1 billion. It's not a typo, 1 billion. And there are commas here, which helps us read, and there will be commas in the future as well. But for 1 billion coins and 5 super snow globes, you can increase the amount of levels your card can gain. The stat gains may or may not necessarily be that magical. It is card depending, but it will let you achieve a higher level, along with the fact that the color will change green, but you can utilize new super latents that are only available to cards who have reached this super level limit breakthrough. And the new latents you can acquire are the damage limit break, and this one allows the card to hit twice as hard. So right now the damage cap is 2.147 and many other numbers afterwards. If a card who has been super level limit breakthrough gains this latent for 6 latent slots, they will then be able to double their damage output from 2 point whatever million to 4.29 million. Billion. So basically, you want to put this on cards who deal exceptional amounts of damage. And at this point in time, I wouldn't commit resources to any of these things because you could acquire this through the monster exchange system, but at the same time, it costs 3 rainbow medals. I don't think it's really going anywhere. You could just wait to hold off. But at the same time, fusing this to a card, if you don't know who you want to put it on, don't. Because A, you need to get a card to level super level limit breakthrough, which is obviously difficult in itself, and you want to give it to a card who always hits hard, but at the same time their damage won't be voided out, because let's say you put it on, say, someone who has multiple 10 combos with no void, and you're playing dungeons with lots of voids, and you don't bring an active that voids damage void. It's kind of a pointless thing overall if you think of it that way. So this is a tremendously powerful latent, but at this point in time, don't commit it to any card unless you know for certain you are going to be using them for a dedicated reason or purpose. There are also new latents for super attack, super HP, and super RCV. Basically, it's a way to make those stats even higher. So if you stick them on, say, like Amatsu, who's been pushed to level 120, you can give comical amounts of health. But again, don't commit to these things unless you have a dedicated use for them. Another thing I want to mention is that with this super level limit breakthrough, it could potentially allow you to hit key health thresholds in Shura 2, such as the 600,000 effective health needed for the Ogres and Gem Floor. So it's possibly something to keep in the back of your mind. But again, for 1 billion coins, that's kind of outrageous because the coin cap was 1 billion or displayed coin cap. Now it'll actually, now you can see how many coins you have. For my Mantastic'c account, I have just over 2 billion. So basically the coin cap that's displayed times 2 is kind of what I am. You can tap and hold in game to see where you are at, but remember, you need to actually have 1 billion to actually raise a card beyond level 110. There's now a complete devolution material which can allow you to revert a card back to their base form. Maybe for certain situational things it might be useful. It's available, it's cool. It's kind of like down peas and sad Tamadras. You don't use them very often, but when you do need them, it could be helpful. Monster box size has increased. I'm just nowhere near that level. And actually, I just realized you all see this kind of Balloon-tastic floating around. It's my happy birthday balloon from January, but sadly, Balloon-tastic has seen better days, and they don't really float very high anymore, so I'm getting sad. I might have to get rid of it one day. But for now, he kind of still floats around. Buffs to various Awoken skills. So the cross attack Awoken skill, you can reduce the sticky blind skyfalls by more turns, and the attack multiplier has increased. It's not exactly a common awakening, but hey, it might be something that's useful if you end up facing lots of sticky blinds. Highly situational. This Latent has been updated. The unable to match orb effect recover or unable to match orb recovery. So basically, if you match a single TPA, a TPA card has to have this 6 latent slot thing here. You can reduce Awoken skills by 1 turn. So it's nice in a sense, but I feel like it's unreliable compared to using something like Fasca or like any other cleric type active skill. And the fact that it takes 6 latent slots is kind of painful to stomach. I haven't found a dedicated use for this yet, but maybe someone might discover one. And then the latent orb recovery one, like, cool, you can reduce spinners by 5 turns when matching a row of hearts. That actually is a reasonably high amount. Like, if you think about it, 5 turns is quite significant. You can reduce spinners by a drastic amount. But again, the problem is it takes 6 latent slots. Of course, if you're playing through content that you know spinners are going to recur and you don't need these latent slots for anything else, it could be a possible meaningful way to use it, because if you think about it, 5 turns is actually a significant amount. The only drawback is you need to give it to a card with the Recover Bind Awakening, and those tend to be your clerics, and those tend to be filled up with SDRs because you want those active skills to be preserved. But hey, it's a buff, and a buff is never a bad thing. Multiple egg drops can occur. That's cool to have. That's nice, whatever. New dungeons for the Pad Pass exclusive. Basically, if you have the Pad Pass, you can gain access to various dungeons that other players cannot, and it only can be done in solo mode. It's just useful to have. Screen after dungeon clears will now transition to floorless. I didn't quite actually understand what this meant. I'm not quite sure what it means. Like, I cleared a dungeon. I looked at the after dungeon clears. I'm not quite sure what that means. I don't think it's that impactful. Loading wait time for watching videos has been extended, and loading communications can now be canceled. Well, basically the idea is when you have the free ad for either restore stamina or capacity, it will show you a tick down timer to know how much time you have left until it's available. And if it is available, your shop will have a 1 or 2 icon in case it's both your videos. It's just a nice friendly reminder. It's non-intrusive overall, so I don't think it's bad. Like, I like how Pad doesn't feel like a mobile game because we're not bombarded with ads. The ads are available as options, but it's not something you have to do. And I think this is relatively unobtrusive overall. It's going to remind me to do it. So the next thing is damage for sub-attribute monsters has been adjusted. So instead of being at the bottom and hard to read, now it's in the middle and easy to read. But if you notice from this image, we have commas. Wow. It has been how many years, and we finally have commas on our damage numbers. This can make a big difference because now you can easily eyeball how much damage you're actually doing and like how close you are to hitting, say, like the damage cap or whatever is necessary to overcome certain spawns. It's just a much more visually easy to consume thing. And I'm surprised commas wasn't the first thing they mentioned in this update because it's one of the bigger quality of life improvements in my opinion. In addition to that, stackable monsters has been increased. You can stack up to basically 1 million, which I don't think anyone's going to really do. Plus points have been increased to an absurdly high number. Cool, wonderful to have as well. Monster name search has been recorded, but we're going to look at the new level limit breakthroughs. That is something that we've already talked about. It just basically explained the super level limit breakthrough aspects to the game. But instead, we're going to look at the new evolutions and upgrades. So, many cards receive new evolutions, which is exciting and meaningful because we possibly had these cards, and these are farmable cards that have received buffs. So, Gung-Ho likes to showcase what has been buffed, but they have a terrible way of formatting things. So instead, I'm just going to open up my Discord. Oh no, where's my Discord thingy? There we go. And boom, we can now look at monsters individually. And I'm going to highlight the notable ones that receive buffs. So the first one is Volcano Dragon. Volcano Dragon suddenly becomes an amazing damage stick. They have a 10 combo, 2 7 combos, and can gain another 7 combo or a VDP via Super Awakenings. That is with the 7 combo Super Awakening, that's 8 times 5, 40 times personal damage against any spawn, with an okay attack stat. It's not a terrible attack stat, but the big drawback I can foresee with this card is, well, you're just a big damage stick. You don't provide much other utility. You have only 1 skill boost, so transforming is going to be quite difficult. The Fire Resist might have situational use against the Ogres in World of Carnage 2, but it's only useful against the Red Ogre when he stays red. The gems, if you do play the alt version, are not necessarily going to be red, so the damage reduction is not a reliable way to gain effective health, and it's just a cool damage stick. Like, yes, this is a meaningful way to add damage onto a given team. The drawback is it doesn't actually overcome mechanics for yourself, and I think that is a little problematic. Like, if his active skill was providing some counter to some mechanics, Maybe you could argue that you could stick him on a team because with a 5-turn cooldown, you could inherit, say, like Red Shelling Forward and have that delay in order to gain effective skill boost. Maybe, but again, I'm a little uncertain as to how you can truly make him shine because damage with no utility is not what we want at this point in time. There has been a buff to a Super Blue Carbuncle, and this Carbuncle buff applies basically to most of the ones. I don't think the Carbuncles are particularly exciting. Carbuncles have never been exciting when I really think about it. And like they have some skill boosts, they have some team health, they have the ability to fully heal and make 9 water orbs. Maybe if you need to make 9 water orbs or their respective color at it on demand, it can be possibly meaningful, but I think the Carbuncles are not particularly exciting, and their evolved form, if we swap between it, they... Again, like, same active skill, and the Awakenings are nothing truly magical. Like, I don't think it's solving any unique problems, and what makes a card strong, in my opinion, is having niche or usage that is difficult to cover, and the Carbuncles don't really provide that, I feel, overall. For the Mystic Knights, in their new super form, it looks like their base form, but it's a super form, they're actually quite significant. And I just looked at both colors to make sure it's similar, and it seems like they're both similar across all the colors. But you have 2 enhanced combo awakenings for your respective colors, so passive damage is nice. You have a modest amount of personal damage. You could get more of 777 combo, but you probably wouldn't want to take the 4 skill boost. So 4 skill boost is not a bad thing, and this active skill is changing water to fire, and then 1 turn of bypassing void damage shields. So damage void can be voided out, and it's an 18-turn cooldown. You could inherit it onto something if you don't want to bring them as an actual sub. You don't get awakenings, but if you know you only need a single turn of void damage void, it could be possibly meaningful to have. And remember, these are farmable cards, and this is kind of still a reasonably niche active skill. Not too many cards have this ability, so having a farmable option is definitely nice. You could use them as subs, or you could just utilize them for that inherit if you want to just inherit it without actually gaining an awakening skills. It might be something to keep in the back of your mind. Zila has received buffs in her evolved form. Her leader skill has increased the attack multiplier. I don't think that's something we're going to need to have, unfortunately. For her weapon assist, it has been improved to give a team HP awakening. So for your mono wood teams where you need to have bind immunity, now you can get bind immunity with team health, which in turn might help you achieve certain health thresholds and you can survive. It's a small buff, but hey, it's a useful buff nevertheless. And her active skill is still something that saves your bacon, so to speak. You have 75% damage reduction, so that means you will tank all the executes and big hits when combined with your other damage reductions. You will have a board changer of mono, full wood, and heart orbs, which is definitely helpful because it's easy to solve, and you get +2 combos. So a useful active. Rose can help you mass attack more easily if you don't have, like, say, Albert for easy VDP damage caps for your mono wood teams. Making a row could be a way to sweep all the silly floors in World of Carnage 2 a bit more easily. The Ice Golems have received super forms in different colors, and some of them give you damage reduction, some of them give you 100% defense break. I don't think the golems are particularly magical in either form, to be honest, except for the fact that maybe you could argue that, like, cool, they have a high attack multiplier, but you have to make crosses, and crosses are not really that doable. As a sub, I don't really foresee the need to run this type of card as a sub. Like, maybe if you have absolutely no damage reduction options for your mono wood team you're playing through Shura Realm or World of Carnage 2, maybe you could argue the blue one could be stuck on your team because blue teams tend to struggle for health, and that is 2 team healths with a respectable high amount of base health. I think maybe you could use them as damage reduction solutions for the red, blue, green ones, maybe. But at the same time, you have other options available. They could provide more because their personal damage is lacking, and they're really just bulk. So it is not a terrible thing, but at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily utilize them that often, I feel. And the next is Super Dryad, and for some reason, it's not letting me scroll down any further, so instead, we're just going to do this, and bam. Super Dryad, they have 3 of the Recover Bind Awakenings, which could be useful maybe situationally, but I don't think I could justify bringing this as my cleric for mono wood. Like, I could use Ceres, and Ceres is a Pantheon card, sure, but I think most people have a Ceres already, and she will be an infinitely stronger solution because it's only removing all bind and awoken binds. There's no extra zest tied to it, really. Like, the 30% health heal is not going to be significant. The awakenings here are not magical. The stats are quite lackluster. I don't think Super Dryad is truly great. So, that brings me to, I believe, all the notable things I want to mention for the current new buffs that we have received. So, hopefully this video provides you some insight as to what you can look forward to in this latest update. Demon Slayer collab does come tomorrow, and it does have some buffs, so I need to rewrite my article that I've almost completed, but it should be ready some point along the weekend, depending on how much time I can commit to it. So, hopefully all the Mantastic day. I wish you all the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.